Hello and welcome to FBL Broadcasting, part of the Community Corporation Limited. Coronavirus update with, of course, the one and only Mayor Mike Smith. There he is.
Good evening, Martin.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm quite tired because I moved house approximately a week and 2 days ago. Well, sort of moved house. Got the keys to a new house, which is now half full of boxes and bits and pieces. And it's all in the wrong place. And then we're looking around thinking there's lots to be done in this place. So it's going to keep us busy for some while, decorating, other little jobs that need doing.
As we know as mayor, obviously it's probably 10 bedroom?
Not at all. 3 bedrooms.
Are they big bedrooms? Or are they is the master bedroom like en suite as well?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at you.
It's a fairly sort of average 3-bedroom house. Don't get the impression that the mayor of Aylesbury is paid huge amounts out of the public purse, because that is not the case.
Come on, mayor, you know this. You get paid, what, is it $500,000?
I wish.
500,000 pennies. Yes. It's still a lot of money. So yeah, I mean, look, you're finishing up. It's like 2 years, and it's like, what are you going to do with your time? I mean, I know this is a coronavirus update, everybody. Please do comment, share, and do all the things in the comments. We will ask the questions a little bit later, but I've got to find this out. After 2 years of literally being a wonderful mayor, and I think this is like our year anniversary, by the way. Should have sent you a cake or a present at least. Should have done that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was looking at this the other day. It would come up on my thing, a year sort of thing.
And how many broadcasts? How many broadcasts have we done?
Do you know what?
15 or 20?
I was just thinking that I don't even know now. I honestly, I can look. I can have a quick look. Actually, anybody out there, do me a favor. Go to our live section in YouTube and have a look. And let's know. I think it's about 20. Well, we do one every month, so that's at least 12. But we do it every 2 to 3 weeks, don't we? And especially if something happens, which Boris and the Conservatives have been doing, is thrown a few, spanners in the way. So yeah, very interesting actually. Yeah, it's about 20, and we've taken a lot. We've helped a lot, I think personally, and it'll be nice to, for you to persuade the new mayor who's going to take up, a really hard mantle. Honestly. They're going to have to do a lot, mate. I mean, they can't look as good as you in your 1960 salmon tie, high shirt collar, with all the bling, with our haircuts. Look at this. This is COVID. I tell you that's what's opening up.
Surreal. I think the last time I had hair looking like this, well, it wouldn't have been like this because it would have been a very different color, but probably would have been in the 70s or early 80s.
Yeah, it is a weird thing, isn't it? I my partner does keep on having a go about how long it is. It's like, well, what can I do? So, but I used to have long hair when I was a student, like all the way down here, and so, I don't really mind long hair. Maybe I don't. It's gone a bit grey. It's gone quite a bit grey now. Maybe I should change the colour in this area so it doesn't look so grey.
I did once have a mullet.
Everybody's had a mullet. Everybody's had a mullet. Come on.
I'm not sure. I'm wondering whether to go back to that look. Would it work or not?
Mayor, honestly, I think you could pull it off easily. I really do. I think
we'll see.
You've got that sort of character about yourself that you would have an issue. You'd make it look good, especially if you're wearing the bling as well. It's gonna come out good.
Well, I've only got this bling for another month, so I'm gonna make the most of it.
Get down those shops, spread yourself around. I want VIP. I've got the bling. It'd be funny if another mayor turned up actually where you are and they had their bling. You could have a mayor off or a bling off, mayor bling off. There we go. Maybe we can do that.
Yeah. I think if there's a protocol there that if I'm in a different area where there's a different mayor, if I want to attend something wearing my bling, I have to get the permission of the mayor of that area.
No,
so,
really?
Absolutely,
wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So maybe we could. There must be a moody mayor out there. Let us know, people. Put in the comments if you know a moody mayor, and then what we can do is get like-minded, really cool mayors like you And then you can all put a request in saying you want to have a get together, like formal lunch over there under a formal thing that you're going to present, just to upset him. but don't invite him as well, or her. It'll be quite interesting. No, I'm only joking. All mayors seem to be quite nice. I've not met a bad one yet, but I haven't met that many, to be fair. So Aylesbury mayors seem to be really nice. They've come up to me and spoke to me. Obviously, what was the name of the previous mayor?
Mark Willis.
Mark Willis, well done. I'm glad you remembered. I'm really rubbish with names. I do admit that. So, Mike, I probably won't know you in about 3 weeks. You'll be like, who are you? I'll be like,
I won't be worth knowing in about 3 weeks. So there you go. I won't be important anymore.
No. It'll be 5 weeks, won't it? 5, 6 weeks.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I am going to come into the election bit in a while. I thought we'd do the COVID-19 update first because obviously don't want to take more than an hour of your time. As you know, I do like to talk. So shall I bring up the data first? Should we just bring that up?
Yeah,
and
let's see what the numbers are.
Get it under the way. Even though I love this chat. See if I can see if I can get it to do it right. Share. Here we go. Why hasn't it done the thing? Oh, here we go. Add to stream. Here we go. So here's the data since the last time we met. And also, may I add, I'm thinking I might have to change my t-shirts now because you see this little logo here. God, I can never get this the right way around. I just don't know which way. See that little logo there called Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
They've kicked us off. They've kicked FBL Broadcasting off Facebook.
No.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to get rid of those stats because this is more important, I'm afraid.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, we had this chat. Remember I said to you about some of the stuff we talked about the vaccine and about, I'm not going to have it done. Lots of stuff. There was a lot of stuff, obviously, with Centrevax. Remember, obviously, the Centrevax stuff, which is interesting. I owe an apology as well to Jacob Glanville and the team because I did say on our last broadcast that he sold out.
Yeah,
but actually he didn't. What he's done is he sold distributed bio, and he's also been in contact with me. He sold distributed bio, which then, for 104 million, but he kept Centrevax to still pursue like a generic influenza jab, a venom jab, and also obviously the COVID-19 thing. So apologies to Centrevax and all the people there, what I said in my last broadcast. And as always, I will admit if I am wrong, I will do it on air and in full box sort of thing. I'm here, look, apologising. I am saying sorry. But Jacob, he has been in contact with me. So that's nice. So it's all good.
Good to know. Yeah. And it's very, very big of you to admit that you made an error.
Yeah, I didn't check
straight.
I didn't check it properly. I did obviously check it and then found out, and then he obviously contacted. I sent him a message. But yeah, I'll always admit. Look, we can't always get it right, and all we can try and do is make sure we do it as much due diligence as we can. But I obviously was so upset that he had sold what I thought was Centrevax. So again, passion got involved there. I think a bit there, man, a bit of passion. Right. Anyway, we'll come on to passion as well. That's a little bit later. Do you know what? I know we've only got an hour, but so much to cram in. Right, I forgot how I was going to do this now. Right, here we go. There we go. No, I'll just click remove ad. There we go. So there's all the stats. Also, of course, you can tell I've been away for a little bit. I've been working hard. There's the numbers scrolling across the bottom for you all out there. Please do let us know in the comments. Don't forget to share and everything with FBL on YouTube and all the other social media. You can still share us on Facebook, by the way, but we're no longer showing it on Facebook. We'll come back to that later anyway. So positive people tested. Actually, let's go through the numbers at the bottom. Deaths in the UK, 149,168. Total cases, 4,360,000, 67,429 or whatever. Deaths in Buckinghamshire, 1,189, and cases per 100,000, 27.6. Now, that's in Buckinghamshire, I believe that is actually that figure. 0.3 through the whole country, I believe, which is a bit weird. Oh yeah, as you can see here, 0.3 rates per 100k, 0.3. But in Buckinghamshire, it shows it as, where did I see it? This is another thing. 27.6.
Okay.
We spoke quite a bit, obviously. You go back to last year, the numbers that we were looking at and everything. And when we say, remember how much I had to trawl through that data? Remember, and I'll pull it up and then I'll send you links and all that lot. It's got better. It has got better. But it's also, as much as allowing us to see all that information in a very nice, clear, concise way, which again, thank all the government agencies for all the work that they do. It includes the ONS, and especially the ONS, which has some interesting stuff. It is good that people can actually see this information quite easily. And again, if you want to find the links, put it in the comments and I'll post them up a little bit later for the links. But they literally type into Google COVID-19 dashboard bucks, for instance, and it will come up with the stuff. But yeah, let's go back to the numbers. I always there we go, click there. So yeah, so numbers have come right down. Things are, as you can see, obviously, as always, what I always say to people, it's not the amount of cases, it's the amount of deaths we should worry about, because catching COVID doesn't mean death. And I can't say this enough. I mean, would you agree with me?
Absolutely. And I think the chance of dying from it if you catch it has been coming down quite a bit from how it was last year, which suggests that the various treatments and the ways the NHS and the other agencies are learning to deal better with it and more effectively with it. So that is certainly a good thing to see.
I would, yeah, there is medical treatments out there. A lot of vitamin D, it's all been proven, and zinc, even though the government has been saying no. And ivermectin is another one. Hopefully I've pronounced that right, people. There is stuff out there that's actually banned, believe it or not, banned in some countries, and some, especially in the UK, they're not allowing it to be administered, which is worrying. So, but of course, there's the natural antibodies we have in our system. So I'm glad you said about that, because there was a graph they showed at the last number 10. Now I'll quickly bring it up if I can do this properly. The only thing I hate about the software that I use is it can be a little bit annoying. This is from something I am doing later. Let's have a look. Give me 1 second, Mayor. I do apologize. Let's do slide 6. There we go. Here we go. I'll just why is it doing things? Give me 1 sec. It's not doing it. There we go. We'll just do the entire screen. There we go. We should be able to see that. So this is now, as Mayor, we talked about this before, about protecting yourself, making sure you're safe. You know, I mean, you've said some really good things, haven't you, as well? But I've been looking at and investigating it. And again, you know, the CDC, which is American, basically like Public Health England, Public Health America, basically, you might as well say. But CDC, they govern all that sort of stuff. So they're very good at giving out data. And they give out these, like this, oh, just hit the mic. This graph was created by them, not by me. So the data from 22,394,397 cases. So they break down the age group. 99% of these cases had information. So I don't know if you saw, but there was a thing with Hancock in the Commons where they asked him about the rates and everything of deaths to do with, you know, within the, or even after 28 days and after the vaccine as well. And he actually quoted incorrectly the report he said it was, which was, I think it was a siren report, actually. Funny enough, we were talking about sirens earlier. The siren report is actually about health workers being part of a trial thing. It wasn't about the numbers. Right. So he actually lied in the comments there, which was very interesting. So don't worry, Hancock. I am watching you, mate. I'm making sure we've got the information. But yeah, so there's the numbers. So as you can see, the ages between 18 and 29 and 50 to 64 seem to be, well, they seem to be catching it more. So 22, yeah, as you can see, 22,225,317 cases that the CDC logged and had the information, which is interesting because going back to the Hancock thing in the Commons, they said they're not recording the data. Now, as somebody who was, yeah, well,
worryingly strange.
I should have actually. I didn't know we were going to go into this again. I do have this because it's ready for a presentation, a live stream I will be doing next week, or maybe late end of this week. But doing a lot of work, and that's why I've been a bit quiet on the channel, because I'm big shout out to AMG for all that, for their help. They have helped me quite a bit, or that person has, gaining information. There's so much information out there. Trying to just collate it all and go through it is quite mad. But the CDC thing is government-led. But the reason why they collect this information is why? Why do you think they collect this information?
I don't know, but I'm sure you're going to tell me, or you're going to propose your theorem as to what it's all about.
I'm going to miss this partnership, man. The reason is because, or what I believe, is because everything over there is money orientated. So they all pay for their public, well, they pay for their health system. So when I say that, a majority of people do. It's very expensive. I've got family over there. My cousin explained to me the other day that I think it's $12 for the shot, for the jab. And I went, oh, I said, over here it's free. He went, well, no, our insurance pays it. But then when we put that in and we get it done, the state government or state, federal, whatever they call them over there, pays the insurance company $24.
Right.
So it's like, I'm saying, what? So they pay double. He went, yeah, they pay double back, whatever it costs to get the shot. They just want you to have the shot. But, well, of course, your insurance company will want you to have the jab if they're going to make, you know what I mean, their money back plus another load. I said, do you think that's a bit weird? He went, it's all part of my premium, which they pay a lot of money for, like $500, if not more, a month. It's something ridiculous.
I know. I've got cousins in the States as well. And well, they both work in the public sector, where they get their health insurance paid for, or at least partly covered, and they've had the choice to retire and could easily retire from a pure day-to-day financial point of view, but then the cost of their health premiums makes it's not worth their while, so they're carrying on working to get that covered. So it's a very strange system.
It is,
and I really don't think, apart from my own sort of political position on it, I think we should all have access to a free health service at the point of use.
I think
it's just should. So well, yes, yeah.
To me, I think we should get rid of farmers, big farmers. We should get rid of them all. Yeah, make pharmaceuticals free worldwide. Yeah, and then allow our wonderful scientists who are out there to explore new angles without the pressure of the money and the system and everything like that. To just, because that's the way you'll deal with a lot of stuff personally. And there's some stuff I've watched where there's cures out there which they haven't carried on because there's no money in a private pharmaceutical company creating a cure when they can have somebody tapped into for life, basically taking their drug, which again hadn't collaborated on whether or not that information is correct to try and prove it, but I have no doubt that does happen out there. But if it was run by, I don't know, I would like to say WHO, but they're not looking good in my books at the moment. So there's some stuff they're putting out there. But yeah, I mean, it's scary, isn't it, to think that in America, of all places, that they can't afford healthcare, which is something you really need.
To my mind, it's a fundamental human right, and nobody should have to worry about whether they can afford it. But also, I have heard that a lot of the big pharma, as we call them, the drugs development, there's a huge amounts of money need to be put into the research and the testing, and a lot of the time that drug doesn't get to the market, so it's just lost money. So what keeps those companies afloat is the fact that they know they can develop a drug, sell it at a reasonable cost to the NHS over here, but they can sell it at a vastly inflated price to the US market, because they're collecting these huge premiums and getting these huge payments when the drug is used. So that is actually driving the worldwide development of drugs. I don't know how true that is, and what would happen if the US did switch to a NHS type model, or the whole world did. I guess it would then have to be in the hands of governments to in
No,
effect have it as a
not
nationalised industry.
not governments. This is, as I see it, run by scientists, actually run properly, like run without the, X amount of money is required that they get through, like what we get with national insurance contributions.
Mm.
And I think you'll find is that the world will become a better place. I really do. If it's run by governments, unfortunately, now I worked in the NHS, I worked with the CRS project, and we had a director in our department that was getting paid £1,500 a day. We had other contractors working at £300 a day, and yet they were charging. Yeah. I was full time. I wasn't a contractor. I actually left working for Lehman's, for instance, to work at the hospital because I wanted to do good. And literally, they started charging people for parking like normal staff. We had parking, free parking, and then they started charging us, saying the hospital didn't have enough money. It's like, well, you're just, there was one big gripe I had there. It was, how can
I have to agree, and that is something that happens throughout. I'm not anti-government by any means. I think there's a lot of things that government can and do well, but test and trace is the very obvious one. The billions that have been spent on that, and a lot of that money going into the pockets of contractors, and you have to wonder, where are the results to show for it? That is not a success in my book by any means.
It is a very good point. That's a very good point. Now, again, so I mean, that's definitely going down the political line there, isn't it? That's like, hang on, I think I've got a can of worms here. I'll just get it. Here's one we made earlier. Open it up. And let's begin.
It's that time of year where we've got elections, which we missed out on last year. So lots of people are talking about political things, which I'm quite happy to.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I might as well do it now. I'll do it. I'll say it with the mayor. There we go. I want to broadcast every person I want to interview them for any position within the Bucks County. Do you know what? Anywhere in the country, who cares? Especially Police Complaints Commissioner. I want to interview every single one. I want to put them, like, for instance, if they're going for whatever seat, if there's 3 of them, then I want to put them all together and get them on there. So if you don't mind spreading the word, Mayor, that would be great. Obviously, you intermingle with people in a certain Liberal Democrat realm, and obviously others. Again, all parties.
You know what you're taking on, by the way. Buckinghamshire Council has got 147 seats up for grabs, and numerous different parties contesting them. Then you've got Aylesbury Town Council, Chesham Town Council, Buckingham. There could be hundreds, but there would be hundreds and hundreds of people on that list. You could be interviewing 24/7 between now and May the 6th.
I can put at least 10 people per viewing. Not a problem. We'll bring them on, have them interact, and maybe, I don't know. I don't care. I'll work it out. I mean, I sent out in the last elections, I did send out to every single candidate, if they want to come on air, I will put them on air. Hence why we got MP Mike, you're going to have to say MP Greg Smith on there. That's why he obviously came onto the and done a couple of shows with us, even though he's kind of not like the way that went. But but there we go. Like, to me, honestly, I think we need to stop political parties. I really do. I think everybody should be all independent people. I think I'm changing it now, because to me, I think the biggest thing came, especially with COVID, and especially with one of the biggest things was the free school meals thing, when all the Conservatives in this area voted in the Commons against allowing free school meals to continue. And I was a bit like, are you telling me that every single person in, a majority in the Bucks area said they, that they felt the majority didn't want free school meals to be given in this very horrible time of COVID?
Absolutely not.
They got whipped. They got so whipped into saying no to the free school meals that the whole idea of an MP, and I know we're talking about councillors, that's what's coming up on May 8th, correct? May 8th, May 9th?
May the 6th.
May the 6th, good. Glad someone's on ball. Hey, May 6th. I honestly think we need to rebuild from the ground up. And I think political parties are a thing where you got obviously the union side with Labour, you've got, you know, elite and that lot were conservative and big industry and stuff paying in, you know, loads of money in what is it, contributions? Is that what they call it now? Contributions. And, you know, I feel that things have just become money orientated, where big companies and are spending a lot of money. And there is a report out there, I forget where it is, where literally the amount of money being spent on canvassing MPs is astronomical. You know, it's gone up tenfold scenario, which is like they do spend a lot of time with the leaders of these parties in trying to push forward that sort of mandate. So to me, you know, if they've got, I mean, how many MPs do we have in the country?
650.
Yeah, right. You try and how much would they have to spend to get through to 650 independent people? Very interested. There would be a lot more, and you wouldn't be able to, you know, willy-nilly change them. That would have to be hard work, because people, I think, if they get elected from their area, would really represent it more. So especially if you're independent, I'm here for it, even though I was here for them on the last election. But with the councillor bits, I'm definitely speaking with Ed. He's going to get in contact with me. Well, we've already been in contact, but we'll have a little chat. But you're not going to be standing, are you?
No, this is my song. I'm hanging up my political boots after 26 years of various roles: councillor, 2 years as mayor, before that 6 years as leader of the town council. So it's going to be strange, but I'm looking forward to the break.
I bet you are.
Forward to filling my time with other things.
All right.
I don't know what as yet, but
are you going to be getting married?
Not to my knowledge. Has someone told you I am?
I don't know. Thought I'd ask, because the way you were going there, I was like, have you bent a knee?
No.
All right.
No.
Okay.
Well, we've just bought a house together. You know, give us a chance, one step at a time.
Well, you know what happens after the house, and if you do get married, I'm going to be asking when you're going to have kids.
I could give you a number of reasons why that's not happening.
Okay. Because
one of them is a medical one, so
okay.
We'll leave that conversation there, shall we?
Past 9 o'clock. We can't go into that yet. Yeah. It's going to be really hard for you, isn't it? Really, seriously. Kind of moving on from kids. All your free time. It's going to be a weird one.
I think I'll enjoy it for a while. I can see myself being drawn back into something like local politics, maybe after a couple of years.
Okay.
But there's lots of other sort of volunteering and charity type things, community sort of work, that I'm sure I can have a similar kind of role with a less political kind of element to it. We'll see.
Yeah, we will. All right, let's get back. We do this on this show, don't we? We kind of jump around a bit.
We digress quite a bit, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like.
So it just gradually it comes back round to where we were roughly intending to be. Somehow it all works, doesn't it?
It does, exactly. It always works. I mean, I have great fun putting it all together. Right, so there we go. So, as I said to you before, I think this is across all areas. 18 to 29, 50 to 64. There was a thing on number 10. They showed this sort of. They've done it in a different way, to be fair. But yeah, so. What do you think to that? I mean, I don't know what age group you're in, the 18 to 29?
Yeah. I'm in one of those two bigger bars on the graph.
Are you? Right, okay. So your generation is high up there. So
that's quite high. So are all these 50 to 60-year-olds going out partying and mingling and breaking the rules? I find that quite strange.
Yeah, I mean, this is updated till the 15th of March 2021 at 11:40. It was when I was running the report. So, sorry, this is taken from them. I put that on. That's what was on the report. Sorry, there's a VARS thing, which you can actually get downloaded information regarding the vaccine as well, which is interesting to look at. Again, watch my show later this week or next week. The Sum of All Fears, it's called. But yeah, so that's what, 20%. You know what I mean? 1/5 have been out partying, which goes to show you that maybe it's they no longer have kids of young age that they can go out and party a bit more. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe, yeah. I'm actually looking at that and thinking, well, yeah, both my kids are in that other age group, which is a high percentage. Not that, as far as I know, my kids are out partying. I mean, I know younger people are a little bit, at least, more likely to be socializing and mingling, and they have less direct fear themselves. But that 50 to 64 age group, the ones that I know and I'm in contact with, are all in the main, still being very wary and careful.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
Even those that have, well, quite a number of them now have had the first vaccination at least.
Right, you brought up the word vaccination. So have you had your vaccination?
I've had my first one, yeah.
Were you? What was it? Can you actually help people out there? How easy is it to go through the process?
The actual process was incredibly easy. So where I am at the moment in Staines, the nearest vaccination centre was next to Heathrow Airport, as it happens. So I had my appointment for 8:30 on a certain morning. Drove up, parked. It was, in a way, it was like the Olympics, because there were lots of smiley people marshalling you along and saying, "Go that way." But
they were wearing a mask, were they not?
They weren't wearing a mask and having big. Well, they had masks on, but they didn't have the big pointy hands, and they weren't sort of too jolly. But they were very smiley and reassuring.
Okay.
And told people exactly where they needed to go. There was a short queue outside for 4 or 5 minutes. You go in, you get sat down. They explain what you're getting, why you're getting it, any questions, jab, and off you go.
So when you went in, they what? What did they do? Did they take your name down? Do they, or what?
Yeah, took my name, confirmed my details that I had an appointment, and then said, we're giving you this, which is the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, and any questions, etc., etc. The details of potential side of it, like you would with any medicine you're being given. You get a leaflet with potentially like hundreds of different sound effects.
So something like that, where you would get like common symptoms. I don't know if you can see that.
Exactly that. Yeah. So
right,
I was quite, well, as you know, I had decided the vaccine, from my personal point of view and from my point of view as a representative, if you like, I think on the balance of probabilities, getting vaccinated is a good thing for individuals and for society.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Made that decision and went along.
I'm just going to jump in. You said probability. Now, that's a very interesting thing that you said that. Now, we all kind of know I still run and poke at the pubbers and such. It's dormant at the moment while I push forward with FBL broadcasting. So I like playing with percentages and like looking at stats and making sure that I kind of make a very educated guess. So what was your probability based on then about getting the vaccine?
The risk of getting coronavirus
but you do know
being ill.
Okay, so you're worried about being ill. Okay, but
dying potentially.
Well, okay. Well, how much do you think? What do you reckon your chances at the age group that you kind of hinted that you was at? What do you think that was? What do you reckon your percentage of dying from coronavirus is?
It's probably still quite low if I was to get it.
Yep.
But much higher than the risk from a side effect of having the vaccine.
Okay, interesting thought. Okay, so all right, so let me bring up the data. Let me bring that up first. So, I'm going to do this wrong. You watch. I haven't added it into the stream. There we go. Right, so this is, again, based on those figures we looked at just in the red bars, which was the amount of people who obviously contracted or got COVID. So this is what, based on, and this is why I love the CDC, because they allow this information to be out there. And they actually created this graph. So data from what, 392,764 in the age groups. I believe it was over 3 million. Anyway, so as you can see, the percentage for 50 to 64 is 14.6% of you dying of COVID if you catch it. So that means you have an basically, let's say 85% survival rate. Again, as we said earlier, if you get COVID, it doesn't mean you're going to die. Yeah, but again, in those numbers, obviously there's going to be people with whatever issues they might have had, which might have been end of term. I don't know, but COVID's obviously been put down on the death certificate. So now that you see that, now you said, I find it interesting, and again, I'm very cautious in how I say this, because as an adult and as a human being, people have the right to make their decisions. They always do get to make the decisions. Yeah. And only you yourself, like I make my decisions based on what I kind of know. Yeah. I can't say to you, you know, you're silly for having a vaccine. Just like you can't say to me, I'm silly for not having a vaccine. Everybody gets the right to make their own decisions. And you've based it on the probability and what you believe, correct? As you just said. So this is what I'm coming out in my video or my live stream. I'm doing it as a live stream so people can obviously have a go, which they probably will. So you've got basically an 85% chance of survival, but you're saying the chances of you taking the vaccine, which is experimental. Do you agree with that? Well,
you explained previously how it, the registration or the licensing is at a different stage for this vaccine than other drugs on the market.
What was interesting, I was speaking to my cousin, I was showing him this, he's had the vaccine, and I showed him the EUA, emergency use authorization. I said, it's not licensed, it's emergency use authorization. And he went, I thought that was end user agreement, which I obviously thought was funny, because I was like, because in a tech sort of world, that's what EUA stands for. Because I've seen that, but I thought it was just end user agreement. I was like, no, it's emergency use authorization because you're in the medical field now, which he thought was quite interesting. I mean, he's so for the vaccine. So we had a really good chat about it all. Excuse me. So, yeah, so it's not licensed. So it's experimental. And again, people, I don't know what medical things you might have on in the background. Like, I know I'm pretty much fully fit, as they say. I'm fat. We all know that. You can tell by the picture. And even though the screen does put on 20 pounds. But there's no need to smirk. Yes, I agree, Martin. Yes.
I was thinking of a polite but witty answer to that, and I couldn't think of one. I'm sorry. So I was just,
just gave the smirk.
Just sitting there looking a bit dopey and smirky. Anyway, let's move on.
Can I just quickly, though, just jump in? I know you quickly move on. So it's emergency use authorization. The biggest thing I want to show to people out there is the government showed this is below the 50 age group. And I just want people to know that I really am worried about the way the persecution is going on about people who don't take the vaccine. And it's against human rights. And the government is pursuing a course of action, like with the vaccine passports. It's discrimination. But if you look below 50 years of age, if you're between 40 and 49, which is me, so I have literally, I'm going to play the stats game and not take the vaccine because it's experimental, it's emergency use authorization. And I know what you're saying about the amount of percentage, for instance, of having adverse reactions, but there is adverse reactions, and one of them has been sudden death. There's quite a few on there. There's a few thousands logged under the yellow card system and under the VARs. but 40 to 49. So I have literally a 97% survival rate, 97% survival rate if I catch COVID. I am not scared of catching COVID at all. If I catch it, I catch it. If I die of it, then I'm in that 3%.
Are you scared of passing it on to someone who has a higher risk, though?
But I'm glad you said that. It's very interesting. So who wouldn't be scared about passing it on? But do you believe that by taking the vaccine, you can't pass on COVID?
I don't believe you can't pass it on. No, it's not foolproof. I think from what I've read, it reduces the transmission as well as the risk to the individual from it.
There's a probability.
We're talking about probabilities, so yeah. And it's a tough one. You talked about, what do you say? EUA, emergency use authorization. Yeah, I feel over the last year we have been in an emergency situation, and decisions have had to be made around developing the vaccine, testing it on a much quicker timescale than we would normally be used to for drugs. And I think in a perfect world, I would have liked a lot more time to think about, is this the right decision for me? But I'm feeling we need to act fast to get this under control, and that's why I chose to have the vaccine. And talking about percentages and probabilities again, 15% chance of dying. If I was told, if you have a car accident, there's a 15% chance of dying, but if you wear a seatbelt, that reduces dramatically, I would wear a seatbelt. And putting a seatbelt on is actually not.
But
that,
they can't.
but going and having the vaccine is almost as easy as putting a seatbelt on when you sit in the car, which, when I first learned to drive, that wasn't what everyone did. And it took me quite a while to get into that habit. And you think, well, that's something so simple that makes a notable difference in your risk of death. Then to me, that's a simple. It may not be the best analogy, but
it's not. But
sort of where I'm going.
No, I think it's a good analogy. I like that. I do like that. You're saying about 15%, which is, for instance, yourself. So what about the age groups from 0 to 18, for one thing? Less than 0.1% chance of dying of COVID. That's a government information. This is less than 0.1%. Anybody who's trying to make a child take the vaccine seriously needs to check the stats and then make up their decisions. I mean, a kid can't make.
So I think, before we go to enforcing or encouraging vaccination in children and younger people, we need that kind of data, but not just on deaths. What's the risk of being hospitalized or seriously ill or having long-term effects or transmitting it to others? Because all of those things have got to be taken into account as potential benefits or not of the vaccine.
But the vaccine has only been around for 6 months? They don't know what it could do to you long term. It takes 10 to 15 years to do a vaccine. And this isn't a normal vaccine. Did they explain to you when you went into, for instance, to have your jibby jab? Yeah, did they explain to you that this vaccine isn't like other vaccines that you've had in the past? This is a new technology that they don't know. They literally, it's all over the UK information of all the government sites. They don't know the effects of what this will be over a 15-year period. And we are willing to push people. And I mean, you've got to admit the government is pushing hard, because I've received documents that are, if you do a concert, make it vaccinated only, which is discrimination. This is going back to, Nazi Germany, where they're using it. I mean, BBC and all that are becoming like propaganda. They are pushing this thing about the vaccine. And again, if you take the vaccine, I don't mind.
I agree with you. Yeah. On if you're talking about vaccine passports or whatever the terminology is, I agree that is discriminatory and wrong. It's kind of ID cards by another route. So we agree on that. So I think what the government, or what Boris Johnson, when I've heard him answering questions on this, is it's one of those typical government answers. We have no plans to at this stage or at the next stage. In other words, they're definitely somewhere along the line, it's going to suddenly be sneaked in under the radar when people have stopped talking about it. And that worries me.
You couldn't have said it in a better way. Honestly, I could have just taken and let you put you on there. I'd like to quickly show you something. I'm just going to bring it up on the screen now. There's a daily number. There we go. Probably. You see here. See these numbers. This is the Buckinghamshire, by the way, Buckinghamshire site. As you can see up here, it says Buckinghamshire. It's actually Buckinghamshire County Council or Buckinghamshire Council, whatever it is. See, you see here, back in 2020, the number is at 174 potential cases reported to 111 triage, and 999 triage is here. In September of 2020, 64, and now if we go into January, we're up to what, 68, which would seem normal, wouldn't it? I mean, you're looking at that going, well, okay, at the height of this, it was people phoning, got problems breathing, blah, 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 blah. But here, we're down to what, 60, 50, 60, January, 61 in 8th of January, and 999 cases is the same. March last year, 55 potential cases. Then let's have a look. Let's go to that top one, 65. And then here, 25th of December, 8. Let's go to January. That's more, 11 potential cases. So you can see that the number of cases, and people have got used to the ability of lockdown, and it's their third one. They're going along. It's just like, we all know what we got to do. Yeah, we don't do this, we don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Would you agree? That's what that shows. People have not conformed, but they've been careful, haven't they?
I think they have. A lot of people have made a lot of, sacrifice. Maybe sacrifice isn't the right word, but learn to do without things that we previously took for granted. And that is the vast majority of people doing that, taking care of themselves and others, which is exactly what we'd want in this situation.
Now, let me show you this. I couldn't believe I was looking at this. This was the rates of deaths back in April, March last year. Yep. Do you see these numbers? 72 deaths there on April the 11th. We come through to, if you look in December, it's kind of going up a little bit. It gets to here, December the 12th. What happened around this time last year in December?
Was December when they started ratcheting up the lockdown, or was that?
Well, they did, but what was the biggest thing they started doing?
Remind me. Seems like a long time ago now.
It does seem like a long time ago. It's when they started doing the vaccinations, and as you can see here, in January, by January 16th, they're up to 100 deaths, and this is why I've been quite low on the radar. I've been investigating quite a lot of stuff. In care homes, between January to mid-February, end of February, there was like 8,000 deaths. And they were all going through the vaccination sequence.
Are you saying those are deaths of people who had been vaccinated?
I believe so. I believe that there's something being hidden here. And I've said this before. This doesn't... In these dark months, as I call them, the autumn months, into winter, then coming into spring, this is the normal time when you're going to have influenza and everything. But what was interesting here is there's another graph I'll show you in a minute. This here is like when nobody knew about conforming. I mean, when it's first come out in March last year, my back was against the wall. I had gloves on, I had a mask on. And there was people around me, no joke, who are so clued up is one way, I suppose you can say right now. Where I'm like, well, I'm not going to start wearing a mask now. Don't need to wear the gloves, even though when I go to a petrol pump, I've watched a few people and I'm thinking, for safety's sake, I'll just wear a glove. But I'm not scared of getting this virus. I don't believe it will kill me. But the biggest thing here is when the vaccinations started going, this number has shot up. and it shouldn't. This number here, sorry, I'm showing you a number that you can't see, showing you something you can't see. As you can, I've got you rid of you. There, you're back. But you see what I mean? That number, that shouldn't be up there. That should be down here. If anything, down here, because people have been, as you can see from the telephone calls that we made to 111 and 911, 999. The numbers are down. People know what to expect and how to deal with. And I could say most of those over 75s was, I think it was like 50% over 75 who died. Because I've been looking at the care home thing. And look at this stat here, which is the cases by specimen date. Look, back in April last year, it was down. I mean, again, we weren't doing as many tests, but you see what I mean? It goes up here, comes down, and then shoots up again in January. And it has been reports, especially in the care home area, of after vaccination, care homes that hadn't had COVID all of a sudden had COVID. It's a scary thought. But anyway, we're running out of time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
What do you think to that? I mean,
I don't know. I'm not a statistician. I mean, I could respond to that by saying you might be onto something there, or I could respond by saying I'm not sure. Is that a delayed pent-up effect of the too early relaxation in the autumn and the government not locking down again quickly?
The government's cut us off. I lost you there.
How many of those people are people who died after being vaccinated, and how long afterwards, and what other factors were in play? So on the face of it, I can't explain that, and it's an intriguing thing to consider, and certainly you should consider it. We should consider it more, but I don't know that you've definitely latched onto a potential answer to that question. I genuinely don't know, and I'll keep in that situation when I don't know. I'll keep an open mind.
This is what they were going on in the comments about when I said about Hancock turning around and saying the siren report or whatever, the siren thing. That's what they were going on about, and that's why they want to know how many people have died, but this information hasn't been collated. But thank God for the CDC, they have been collecting it. Right, running out of time. We said only an hour, didn't we? We've got 7 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
Once again, the vaccine, COVID-19. Well, that's what it is. It's a COVID update. Isn't it?
It's what started this all off, and it
is.
In a way, it's the gift that keeps on giving in terms of prolonging our conversations and debates.
Yeah,
and it's right that we're debating it and still challenging where we think we need to, or where something doesn't make sense to us. As a liberal, I would say I would always want people to be doing that and making their own decisions based on informing themselves as best as they can, rather than just, somebody said it, whether that was a government minister or my mate on Facebook. Somebody said it, so I'm going to believe it. Work it out for yourself. Think it through for yourself.
Do you know, my friend AMG has sent me quite a lot of stuff, and they've gone down a rabbit hole. And I try to verify all my stuff. I try my best to, and I'll look at stuff and say, you sent me this, and it's a lie, but it's not found. There's no formation. Like, I'm showing you figures based on CDC, which is a government organization in the USA. I've got to be, when I'm putting this information, especially to you, because I know you'll pull me up if you see that there's an error in my way, so to speak. And we have this debate. Hey, I saw those eyes go, what was that all about? Now, there is a question I want to ask you, quickly moving on. Would you come back on May the 4th? It's a Tuesday.
Probably.
I'll tell you why May the 4th, because I want to say a goodbye show to you, and I want to put together a few of our bloopers, if you want to call them bloopers. We had some fun things.
Have we had any?
Oh, we've had loads. Well, the siren thing is the best. maybe pick out some of your best bits as well. Maybe let me know and I can do a little clip and we can go over them or revisit the stuff, because it's kind of like may the fourth be with you, or may the force be with you, or may the fourth. May the force be with you. There you go.
Oh, we've got a double pun on that one, so I can't really say no, can I?
You can't. So how about we do that? Because I'd like to put some together. And if you could,
a couple of days before I finish,
that's it.
Before election day. So I'm writing that down.
Yeah, I'm writing it down here. May the 4th, 7 p.m. Should we do that? Is that going to be cool?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go for that.
Okay, so we covered the elections. Youth Concern, before we finish up, we've got about 4 minutes. How's Youth Concern doing? I mean, what's the final amount of money that you've raised?
I don't know to be sure. Obviously, the fundraising possibilities have been very non-existent. Yeah. I know that as a result of publicity on this show and elsewhere, I know donations are still coming in. I really wouldn't like to speculate, but I reckon we've probably pulled in a couple of grand in this past year to add to the 20 that we made last year, which is at least something.
20. I think it
was just under 20 as at last May, when my first year ended. And just thinking of donations that I'm aware of, a couple of grand or so. Right. I'll have a word with Hannah before our next broadcast and see if I can get a figure on that.
She has reached out to me a couple of times. We had a couple of dialogue as well, to be fair. So, I mean, they do a great job. There is no doubt. I mean, I put some videos together or little snippets of obviously our interviews, put that out there, and I kind of worded it in a way about companies actually donating, if not, money, time, and resource as well. It's about a company ethic and helping, obviously, because the youngsters, again, are our future. And again, I hate to go back to the vaccination, less than 0.1%, affected, but they are our future. And we literally, I mean, with Youth Concern, they have, what's the projects they were working on? I nearly said the Lighthouse Project. Don't ask me where I got that from.
The one I was supporting was the Next Steps project.
Next Step, that was it.
Yeah.
That was.
Which,
there was another.
Puts those homeless young people in longer term accommodation with supportive people around, and it's a safe and secure environment. So they've not just got a roof over their head and no longer sleeping on the streets or a stranger's sofa. They've got access to counselling, they've got access to advice on jobs and education, and it turns their whole lives around. And it's pretty much guaranteed that if you do that for a young person, they will end up giving back.
They will.
So many of the people I've met at Youth Concern who are volunteering and helping out are doing so because they were helped in the past and they want to do the same for others. So it's not just those individuals that benefit, it's all of us.
Yeah, well,
that's why it's such a fantastic project, and I really wanted to support it.
Well, like I say, even after you do leave and hang up your bling, I still will work with them, especially if they reach out. I mean, them helping out on FBL, going that way, or maybe I can show them how to, I don't know, live stream like I do. Maybe better though. But
no, nothing could be better than your show, Martin.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, yeah, it's interesting the work that they do there. And again, I've pushed stuff out there, and I've tried my best to try and push it more in one respect, so that hopefully.
Yeah, thank you for that. It really is appreciated.
Do you know what? The stuff being on here for the last year, the least I could do. There is no doubt about that, especially for you and especially for them. But that goes for a lot of things out there. I try. That's why I do Live in the Park. Oh, that was one of my questions. What's going on? It's quite a big one. What's going on with Live in the Park?
It is quite a big one. As things stand at the moment, we are hoping to do Live in the Park this year.
Oh, okay. Will that be only for vaccinated people, though?
No. No, we were.
Now, don't do a Boris. Don't say no. That's not British. We wouldn't do that, and then go back on it. Oh, but then again, you can say that because it's all up to the next mayor, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Aylesbury Town Council would make a. It is going to come down to what's the national government's position, and I hope that we can continue to persuade them that this is a very, very bad and discriminatory idea. So, all being well, live in the park, anyone who wants to can come along. But we were at this time last year, we were saying the same.
That's correct.
It came to a point where there's so much advanced planning, talking to, not just the bands and the stage crew and everything, but all the suppliers of refreshments and security and all the rest of it. And you can't sort of go to those companies and say, we'll engage you for this event, but we might have to pull the plug at the last minute. So I think, again, we'll be looking to make a decision one way or the other within the next couple of months. And that will be, if it's more than a month from now, that'll be a decision for a completely new council and mayor to be making. But if it's happening, I promise I'll be back. I'll be there.
Will you?
Of course I will. I've still got loads of friends in Aylesbury, and I will be coming back for as many of the things that I've always enjoyed.
Well, if we're able to live stream the event again, then please do come up to the van. You'll probably want to stay well away from me, actually. You'll probably go, no, I've spent enough time seeing him. I don't want to see him in the flesh. I've seen enough of him. I didn't get away from him.
No, I want to see if that extra £20 really is the effect of being on screen or what you look like in real life.
Damn, yeah. I think you might be right there. Well remembered. Well, Mayor Mike Smith, I know it's not going to be our last one, thank God.
No, so we'll squeeze in another one.
May the 4th be with you. We look forward to that. And anybody else out there, please let us know in the comments what was your best bits from all the wonderful interviews that we've had, especially if you remember the siren from the laptop, which is definitely, I think, the funniest thing. Some of the stuff you said, it kicked in. It was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But once again, it has been amazing as always. And I have to come over here and find the right thing to click as well in a second. But thank you for your time. Congratulations on moving. Congratulations on your retirement, I suppose, in one respect. Also getting married, soon to be getting married and having children. And and also for wearing your bling, which is greatly appreciated with your salmon tie.
Do you want the bling next time as well?
Do you know what? Let's see it off in style. Let's see the bling one more time before you... Oh, actually, when do you have to hand it back?
It will be just after the 6th of May, whenever the first meeting of the new council is.
Right.
So, yeah, that could be the very last time you get the chance to see it.
Let's have it then. If you still have it, of course. It'll be great. All right?
Okay, brilliant. Will do.
Mike, look after yourself, and I'll see you on May the 4th, or Mayor the 4th.
Okay. Bye for now. Take care.